All right, let's bring in my good buddies, Tobi Altizer. Toby, good to see you.
Good to see you, Bart. Good to see you, Paul.
Paul Imig.
Hello.
And our fourth for this today, Deshaun Kaiser.
Shut the door, and the first thing that comes out of Aaron Rodgers' mouth was, "You believe in 9/11?" What? Do I believe in 9/11?
Okay, Paul, you didn't see that yet? Deshaun Kaiser is on a podcast with Adam Brenneman, and first thing Aaron Rodgers ever asked. So first thing Rodgers ever said to Favre was, "Hey, Grandpa," and first thing that Rodgers ever said to Deshaun Kaiser was, "Do you believe in the most horrific attack on our country since Pearl Harbor?" I just want him to go away. I just want Aaron Rodgers to go away.
Are you more sick of Aaron Rodgers, the person, or the quarterback at this point?
Well, I've always been sick of the person.
Yeah, but now you're sick of the quarterback too, right?
It's just that the person is so big. It's hard to even when I watch Rodgers throw like a touchdown, I'm like, I don't cheer for him. You know what I mean? I can't.
There were a couple.
Well, he's not there's a lot like Deshaun Watson's going to start this weekend. Rodgers is a better person than him.
Yeah.
Rodgers is a better person than a lot of these people. I just don't like him at all. I'd rather have Taylor Heineke on my team.
Hey, he finds a way to win football games, man.
How'd they win that game against Atlanta?
Because Atlanta's not very good.
Toby, that was like a de facto playoff game.
It was, and they found a way to win it. They're still in it, man. 7-5 at this point. It's crazy.
Toby, that Taylor Heineke is the Commanders' starting quarterback next season?
No.
Who is? A rookie? Or a veteran or what?
No idea.
Didn't they draft a guy?
I don't know that the starting quarterback for Washington is on the roster right now because I don't think it'll be Wentz. I don't think it'll be Heineke.
No.
They'll probably bring Heineke back, and I don't know that they can start Sam Howell if they don't get to see him at all this year, and they probably won't since they're in playoff contention. So I have no idea who the next starting quarterback is for Washington, but I love the Heineke train. It's so much fun, but you watch him every Sunday, you're like, this dude's never winning anything meaningful. He's fun, but it's like
he's on my fantasy football bench, and I see Washington win, and a lot of praise for Taylor Heineke, and then I check it out, he's got 12 fantasy points, and then I look at the numbers behind that, I'm like, did he? Yes, Washington won with Taylor Heineke as the starting quarterback, and Taylor Heineke, to his credit, didn't lose Washington the game.
He's game manager of all game managers right now.
Which is a skill.
Yeah.
Yes.
I often think, and I don't know if this is how unfair this is or not, I'm not a quarterback genius, but when I think of that, Bart, in early in our lifetime, I think of Trent Dilfer, whether fairly or unfairly. I think of Trent Dilfer, who had a very good career, and I'm sure he was, what's the thing they say during an NFL draft? This guy can make all the throws. I don't know if Trent Dilfer could always make all the throws, but he always kept his team around and didn't seem to make the critical mistakes. It seems like at the very least, Taylor Heineke is a good leader who his teammates like. Look at the Zach Wilson, Mike White thing in New York.
Yeah.
Mike White looked great. I saw all of those key plays on Red Zone and then watching the game back later that day. But Zach Wilson's the number 2 overall pick and this Mike White guy. But was it really just the players were like, we're not playing with this Zach Wilson guy. We don't like him. We don't believe in him being able to lead our team. So this is what we really look like when we don't hate our quarterback. I kind of wonder with Washington, it's they clearly didn't. Was it week 2 or week 3? Where Ron Rivera was asked, so what's the difference between your team and these other teams? He said, quarterback.
Yeah. No, I mean,
back when it was Wentz, of course.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think sometimes we overlook the fact that sometimes when you have enough talent on a football team, you don't have to have the quarterback play at a transcendent level, which is, I think, what a lot of Packers fans were asking of Rodgers in recent.
Yeah, I think we're inadvertently sort of talking about the Packers here.
We are, right? Because I think that's when you see that crossing route to Christian Watson that goes for 50 yards
exactly.
after catch. When you see the dump down to A.J. Dillon after going through all of his reads, rather than Jordan Love doing what Aaron Rodgers so often does late in his career, which is, I'm going to run, I'm going to see what I can do. No, I took a sack. Or, just run the offense, do the thing that's designed, and that's it. And you, as long as you're not going to make the big mistakes, you might have a heck of a career.
Well, and I think that's what's
color in between the lines, Paul.
That's what I thought's what's interesting with Rodgers this year is it seemed like his first year with LaFleur, this is kind of what we saw, where it was a lot of freelance. They were winning football games, but it wasn't very impressive. And then you saw him kind of stick inside the offense, maybe not as much as a regular system quarterback, like maybe a Jimmy Garoppolo or something like that, where they truly are limited. But he stuck inside the offense, and then when he needed to make a play, he made a play. And then it seems like maybe at like the halfway point of last year, and then especially this year, he's gotten back into that mode where I'm going to be Superman all the time, and he's too old to be Superman all the time, and it's just not working.
Yeah, and I would just remind people, too, the Packers didn't draft Jordan Love out of some spite or out of – this year's Aaron Rodgers, which, again, we almost have to put in two parts. We have to put in, the last play of the Giants game in London. What did he look like? Because that was pre-broken thumb. And then post-broken thumb. But even pre-broken thumb, he looked like Aaron Rodgers looked like the quarterback who needed to probably be replaced in the coming years, is why you would draft a Jordan Love in the first round in the first place. And that guy is back. For whatever reason, thumb injury or no thumb injury, that quarterback came back this year.
Well, and I don't know how much you can even bank on that thumb injury because, maybe you can blame a throw or two here or there, but it's decision-making, and that has nothing to do with the thumb.
I agree with you. Right. But I'm saying even if you want to be a defender of, yeah, but he's got a broken thumb. Even if you want to be that Rodgers defender, you'd still have to say, well, he still played up until the final play of the Giants game in London without a broken thumb and wasn't good.
No.
I mean, he was, a very average quarterback. And people get fixated on the dollar amount that Aaron Rodgers makes. But it's for me, it's always like the percent of the cap that player is making. And it's exorbitant, so his play had better be exorbitant. He can't be an average quarterback, because if a player makes that percent of the cap playing as an average player, you won't win. That's just...
Well, and even so, his best trait throughout his entire career has been the fact that he doesn't turn the ball over. And that has not been the case this year.
Yeah.
So, I'm generally going to be on the Rodgers train, and I'd be interested to go back and watch that game and see if there is a difference in how the Eagles decided to play Jordan Love when he was in, or if it seems like the game plan was different. I haven't been able to really check all that out yet, but it just seems like if you look at the stats, obviously a lot of that comes on that Watson touchdown from Jordan Love, but Jordan Love looked confident out there. He looked inside an offense that knew what it was doing when he had to make some plays outside the pocket. He put the ball in some decent spots, didn't really put it in danger. I think overall, you look at what Jordan Love did, and then you look at what Aaron Rodgers did to that same defense earlier in that game, and you're like, what gives?
Well, I will tell you, and we're obviously talking a lot about this in our sort of pre-launch of our game, but it's a good conversation. And I would just tell you that when Jordan Love dropped back to pass, even regardless of where the
penis moved.
What's that? I missed what you said.
My penis moved.
Oh, okay.
I was excited.
Yeah, no. Now I understand what you're saying. I just didn't actually hear what you said.
I got an erection.
Yeah, no. I'm understanding what you're saying now.
Stiffy.
Even before the throw,
he does it for me.
Heineke, yeah.
Even before the throw that Jordan Love made, or the throws that he made, he looked confident dropping back. It wasn't scattered. It was purposeful. He wasn't rushed. Those are huge trades just to be confident and secure in the pocket and knowing that you are going to go through your reads. You're not going to be seeing ghosts in the defense, that you're just going to run the offense.
Yeah.
I'm very confident that Jordan Love, regardless of, and we're recording this on a Tuesday, it's going to come out on a Wednesday. Rodgers has, what is he going to say on McAfee? What are the latest results going to be? So we can only go on what we know as we record this. But man, I really, really want Jordan Love to start these final 5 games. Well, I'm not confident he will, and we're going to talk about why as we record this. I'm not confident that Jordan Love is going to play these final 5 games, and it's because of what Matt LaFleur said on Monday's press conference, which, God, just stop letting – I mean, he has to talk. Matt LaFleur has to talk. It's part of his contractual agreement, but this guy just digs himself for – I mean, you want to get into it? Anything else to say? Because I
got to just Trent Dilfer game manage a few things here if I can. First of all, I'm going to take a break right now if I haven't before. Okay, we're back, or we didn't go anywhere. I don't know the structure of this show yet because we are recording before. This is being recorded before USA Iran. So if you're on YouTube.
Excuse me, Iran.
Oh, God. Thank you, though. But I'm wearing a USA hat if you're on YouTube.
Go USA.
So I don't know it's embarrassing if they didn't advance. So I'll just
they better win.
Yeah. So we don't know that yet. We know in the course of this podcast, we know because I've already talked about it, but you understand how recording works. We also, as Paul mentioned, haven't heard Rodgers on McAfee yet, which it's almost like you can't. It'd be like doing a podcast before a game.
Right.
You can't do a podcast. You don't know what happened. Well, we don't know if McAfee asked Rodgers about 9/11. We don't know. So anything that comes out of that, I'll cover at the end of the show. Also, the cat that Tim Shea gave that CBD spray to
is dead.
From Happy Place Hemp is not dead.
Okay. But
did go missing.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It wandered from Illinois all the way up to Muskego to get more of that good stuff from Happy Place Hemp. And you can check it out at happyplacehemp.com. Promo code BART, 25% off your order, your first order, your second order, your third order, every order. You're like, drats. Cyber Monday's done. No good deals online anymore. Pish posh. 25% off every order at happyplacehemp.com. Get those gummies. What a stocking stuffer. I know I'll be stuffing my stocking and my mouth with delicious gummies from Happy Place Hemp. happyplacehemp.com. That was off the cuff.
What it sounded like was a spokesperson who's really bad at doing reads.
Yeah.
But tries to do it like they think they had heard a guy do it once. So they're trying to mimic the tonation.
I love Happy Place Hemp and their goomies.
What does it say down here? I really enjoy insert product placement.
And you can taste that CBD. Yum, yum.
No, but really, his cat's not missing, is it?
No.
That was all part of the
cat realized it was missing out on a good time the last 13 years of its dreadful existence before it got that CBD oil.
Okay, so right. the cat's
good. The cat's good. Happyplacehemp.com, promo code BART. Also want to thank our good buddies at Carl's Place. Toby, did you install a golf simulator yet?
I have not yet, but I need to get on that.
Yeah, well, if you guys do, I got the video posted. Please use the affiliate link so Toby and I can get some coin. Okay. Paul, take it away.
All right, I'm going to go into the question. I wasn't sure where I was going to start, but I want to start with this one because we broached the topic. I'm going to preface it by saying what I said a little bit ago about Matt LaFleur. And we can expound on this even before we get to the topic.
Scrappy doo.
He misunderstands, in my opinion, the role of a head coach, the role of a leader. It's good to fall on the sword sometimes. It is good to take blame. It is good to defer and to say, I trust my defensive coaching staffer. We are all in this together. There are times for all of that. he has taken it to such an extreme degree of like, why would I make a change at play caller? This isn't on Joe Barry. This is a collective effort.
Here's the quote. If I
Thank you.
thought there was an issue, we would make the change when asked about Joe Barry.
Terrible. You can have your guys back, and there are just better ways to do it. And then there's the Aaron Rodgers part of it, which is that LaFleur said on Monday, and Bart, if you have the exact quote, please go for it. But ... as I paused to see.
I closed the browser.
No problem. I mean, he's essentially, I think I'm very close to doing the exact quote when I say that LaFleur commented, if Rodgers is able to go on Sunday against the Bears, he will start.
When I think LaFleur should have said on Sunday night, we're going to go with whatever gives us the best chance to win.
Which would be amazing of an
Even
answer.
if he meant Rodgers, it would be such a great thing to say. What's your because I'm probably going to change it.
Okay, well, it's a kind of a two-parter. Well,
Okay.
So I have to preface both parts. You are, I think it's fair to say, you are not behind Milwaukee Brewers leadership. You are, you are very concerned with the direction of the. I will tell you,
They finally they're getting a new sound system.
saw that.
Yeah,
Which much needed.
that will help my new friend Nicole Sedavi when she's actually down on the field. People can actually hear her.
That will be helpful.
Yeah.
I am for the first. I think Bart, I might have texted you this last night. Something to the effect of, it's been a long time since I've been this pessimistic and cynical about the leadership and direction of the franchise of the Green Bay Packers. LaFleur, if I was President Mark Murphy, and maybe this is exactly what Murphy wants, but if it is exactly what Mark Murphy wants, then I'm an extremely concerned board member, because your coach has no balls.
Well, let me just say to the question.
I apologize for like finding like a way around this, but I'm very concerned. I think if you're a Packers fan, you should be not because they're not playing well, not because whatever, but because the coach, for his 13 wins in his first 3 seasons and all of that, he's very. I don't think he gets. I think there's something he doesn't get. I think there's a very major component of being a leader that he doesn't get. Here's my question for you: you are more optimistic about the direction and leadership of the Brewers
Wow.
than you are the Green Bay Packers. Or
Jesus. God.
And by the way, the fact that you're having to think about it this hard, regardless of where you go with your answer, already.
Let me talk myself into one. Let me
rationalize your way through it.
Let me show my work. David Stearns, at least, like I feel like he had a grip on what to do. It's just that he had a boss that severely restricted him. It's like, let's say, working at a place where there's just no resources to do anything. And when salary leaves, it's like, I guess that salary's gone forever. I mean, I could use $25 to have McKelvey on, but shit, I guess I can't.
That was a random example.
Yeah, spitball. So I don't know what Matt Arnold's going to be. This Renfro trade, I don't care about it. It's a Hunter Renfro. I'm not getting worked. If I'm going to get worked up over $10 million, it's going to be Hunter Renfro.
Agree.
But then the Packers, here's the problem with the Packers. The Packers leadership was, that situation was fucked. Murphy and McCarthy and Ted Thompson, it was all a mess.
Yes.
And there were silos.
Yep.
Whenever we hear that, that's a huge red flag.
Terrible.
Okay.
Really, yeah.
So McCarthy's gone. Thompson's gone. And now gone. R.I.P. But you still have Murphy and you still have Rodgers. So just because you got a new shiny Goot and a new shiny LaFleur, that doesn't mean the structure's better. It just means you're replacing what you had with other guys. And now you took Ted Thompson, who was like, I know what I want. And McCarthy knows what he wants. And so you have these, let's say Rodgers is a silo. You have to. He's bigger than the team. Rodgers, McCarthy, Thompson, Murphy. They all know what they want. And there's friction because it doesn't always mesh. Now you have Rodgers, Murphy, Goody, who knows what he wants, but will back up. Like he's gonna do it this time. This is the time he's gonna actually jump off the high dive and impress the girl. But he gets up there to the top and he's like, "Oh, I was afraid." And then he goes, and then Matt LaFleur, who like won't even take his shirt off to go swimming. Now instead of these two strong men, you got two wimps. LaFleur being the wimpiest of all, but the structure hasn't changed. In fact, you've given more power. And I would say Murphy doesn't care. He's like, I don't care. I'm out. You guys figure it out. So all the power's gone to Rodgers. So if you're asking me about Packers leadership is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So yes, I will declare that I have more confidence in Mark Attanasio than I do Aaron Rodgers. So yeah.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, real quick question: Does Mark Attanasio believe in lizard people? Does he think that we landed on the moon? Does he think that the Earth is flat? These are things I need to know before I can fully answer this question.
The important questions. Yeah, I just have this feeling that this has obviously been a terrible year for the Packers, but I could very well see them being back and being a 10-win football team next year.
But well, look, Toby, I obviously want you to keep going. I think that's part of the question, but whether they win 10 next year or they lose out this year, it's the confidence in the tippy top. Like, who's making the decisions?
I am so down on Matt LaFleur.
Here's the thing with where I'm going here. I can see them being a 10-win football team next year, and I'm fine with the leadership. It has to do with the Aaron Rodgers thing, like Bart's saying. Like, I can see Aaron Rodgers leading them to 10 wins again next year. I'm confident in Goody and LaFleur after Aaron Rodgers. I think that they can still get things together. The problem I have with Matt LaFleur is the fact that at some point you have to do something, like you said, Paul. Like, you can't keep falling on the sword for Joe Barry when he gives up 300 yards on the ground. And you can't say, I don't think there's an issue. If there were, I would have tried to fix it. You didn't think 300 yards on the ground on Sunday Night Football was an issue? Well, then maybe you're the problem. So yes. I think what he ends up doing is he ends up putting his own job in jeopardy because he's not able to look at what's going on in front of him and address it before it needs to be.
He's so worried that he doesn't want to fire anybody else, that he's going to be the one that.
Absolutely.
Well, and keep in mind, who hired Joe Barry?
This idiot.
So he had. I mean, in some way, if this was like, this is only 4 years ago history, but didn't LaFleur, he inherited Pettin, right? Am I remembering my history correctly?
Yeah.
But Pettin finished with
Pettin
McCarthy.
Was here for a year, yeah.
So, okay, so I'm remembering that because what I'm thinking, the reason I say that is when Pettin is this guy you inherited, you're less like this wasn't your call. He was just here, right? But I'm wondering if LaFleur is more, apt to defend Barry because anything bad the defense does, of course, it should always fall on the head coach, period, even if that head coach is really just your offensive coordinator guy, but because it's his hire.
Yeah.
So
maybe he doesn't want to
fire
him.
But LaFleur is overcompensating, to a serious degree. And I want someone to step in and tell him, this looks bad for you. At some point, you have to go into self-preservation mode, Matt LaFleur. And you need to, so even if forget the fans and forget, they'll say, well, outside of 1265, fine. Dismiss anything that we're talking about or anyone that any fan is talking about. If you were Christian Watson, an obviously breakout candidate, potential future great wide receiver, maybe he's already that, you're not in these defensive meetings. A lot of probably what you're hearing Matt LaFleur talk about the defense, because you're hearing LaFleur with you all the time in the offensive meeting rooms and in the but he's never going in front of the crowd, the offensive group of players, and talking about the defensive performance. Why would he waste the offensive players' time doing that? He wouldn't. He's not doing that. So you're Christian Watson, just to use a player as an example, and the only time you're really hearing your head coach, your offensive guy, talk about the defense is in a press conference in which he's defending the defensive performance. I, Christian Watson, would lose a ton of confidence in my coach.
Yeah.
That's what's important, not the opinion of us three and listeners and fans. If I'm Christian Watson or an offensive player, I'm like,
well, if you have this whole part of the team,
what is he doing?
Well, I think there's a whole part of the team that wants Jordan Love to play more.
Probably.
And now you're like, well, why isn't he playing? Oh, because LaFleur, like, it feels like Aaron Rodgers, it's the whole situation sucks.
Well, and it'd be one of those things that, like, if LaFleur were in the locker room after the game or in the team meeting room as a whole, and he's ripping everyone a new one in there, and he's yelling at the defense, he's yelling at the offense, and he's getting on people, then maybe you can say, you know what, whatever he says in the press conference doesn't matter as a player. But do you see Matt LaFleur getting up in front of a meeting room and just yelling at the defense that it has to be better and telling Joe Barry that he needs to get it together or he's not back? I don't see that.
Not at all. Never.
All right, I have a question on top of that. This will be the only head coaching job Matt LaFleur ever has.
Wow.
So either he's good and here for a while.
Someone's going to take a shot on him because he's not going to last.
I wouldn't.
As it stands today, I wouldn't either. But Josh McDaniel got a second job. I think there have been some pretty bad retread head coaches.
Well, and you know the thing that you always said on the show, Bart, was that Matt LaFleur seems to be a guy that only knows how to do something once he's experienced it. Right? And now he's experienced being a head coach for multiple seasons. So maybe if things don't work out in Green Bay in a couple of years and he gets let go, he could figure it out somewhere else. But the problem that I have with LaFleur, again, is he just doesn't have the foresight in these things. Like, in order to win a Super Bowl, you have to win the thing. You can't just keep even just getting to a Super Bowl. They lose in the NFC Championship. They lose in these big situations. And at some point, you'd think that he would learn how to get over these situations and look ahead. And I don't even know what they have to do. And then this season has just been a disaster as a whole. So I think he could be a head coach somewhere else and be successful. But for whatever reason, this year in Green Bay and his leadership style, it just has not worked.
So whoever the rebound is for Matt LaFleur is going to benefit from all the things that he learned the first time around.
Joe Barry.
Yeah, like how the Cowboys are going to win a Super Bowl this year.
Well, and obviously that even to say what you just said is dismissive of the fact that McCarthy won a Super Bowl 12 years ago in his first job. But yeah, McCarthy has a great chance of winning a second Super Bowl. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who, well, Bart, I mean, you have such a good, I think, vantage point of what Packers fan is feeling. LaFleur won 13 games consecutively. And so I almost kind of feel like, from my perspective, and I'm not, I was like you, Bart, I think when you were on Bukowski's podcast, you were like credited accurately as being like the voice of the fan, the guy who can say the thing that Packers fans want to say and just knows how to articulate it in a well said manner.
Don't you think, like,
so you, voice of the Packer fan, let me just ask
don't you think like a radio station would want that on their?
If I was a program director, I would want that. Yes, very much so. But let me ask you.
I should have these two guys at my door every day fighting who gets to talk to me first, honestly. I mean, seriously, what the fuck are we doing here?
Agree.
Why do I have to beg for jobs? I should have 15 fucking jobs by now.
I agree. And I think all of your listeners agree. And that's why they've followed you over to this podcast medium. And it's why it's doing it. It's why you have like too many boxes of people who want to join you on post-game shows because of the community that you've created.
Yeah.
That is not me kissing your ass. That's just a genuine thing. I don't quite know where I was going with that. Where was I going? Toby, where was I going?
You're saying that I'm the voice of the fan about
voice of the fan. Thank you. Appreciate that. Voice of the fans, Packers fan, Bart. Is LaFleur still highly regarded by fans because of his 13 win seasons?
Or nobody cares about that. Those get credited to Rodgers.
So Packers fan, to generalize and to bring all voices into a singular voice, thinks LaFleur is maybe was never good in the first place, but at the very least is not good now and might be bad. Is that Is that a fair generalized Packer fan statement?
Yeah. Oh, LaFleur's bad. The average Packer fan is, or he's like cute. But nobody's credit like LaFleur. Okay, Rodgers, they drafted Love, and then we credit that pick for Rodgers 2 MVPs, which is that's stupid.
I don't think that's stupid. I have
like
to disagree with you on that one.
I think it's stupid because that's one of the things that I think is stupid because I don't want it to be true.
I don't want it to be true either, but it's definitely true.
No, nobody thinks LaFleur is a good coach.
Okay.
Nobody.
Well, that's so again, what I want to do, Matt LaFleur, if you're driving around listening,
call in.
Let me.
I love you, Matt.
Let me coach you.
I had a dream
Matt.
about Bill. I had a dream about Bill that he just up and quit one day and was ranch. He did a ranch in Wyoming.
Is this the Phil Jackson story?
No, this is my dream about Bill Michaels.
It's a real like I didn't know if you were telling it if you're doing a bit.
No, my dream was that Bill Michaels left on his own accord, Milwaukee, said, I'm tired of it. Went to Wyoming, never wanted to do radio again, was ranching, and then restarted his podcast on like 1530 WYOM or some bullshit.
WYOM, Wyoming.
But that's wrong because that side of Mississippi would be K.
Call letters, sure.
Yeah, but KFIZ in Fond du Lac was indoctrinated in because they were formed in 1903.
But by the way, what I thought you were saying was because isn't that like what Phil Jackson did? Didn't he quit basketball coaching and then moved to Wyoming and then
I don't know.
Anyway,
I just want everybody to know that I dream about Bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that last night or recently?
This is my most recent sleep.
Wow.
I dreamt about Bill.
Very interesting. All right, so Packers fans, through the voice of the fan Bart Winkler, who is available for employment, program directors. Yeah, they think LaFleur stinks. And so, Toby, all of this is to say, despite all of this, you're more confident in Packers leadership and direction than the Brewers?
Yeah, because like I said, I think that the Packers next year could be competing for a playoff spot. I look at the Brewers, I have no idea what they're doing. It seems like Matt Arnold acquired the job and then decided to leave his thumbprint on the first couple of moves, and I don't like them. Now, it's one of those things. You talk about the Hunter Renfroe trade, whether you like that or not. I didn't like the trade. I just don't feel like with the Brewers, it just seems like after that Hader trade, the whole morale around the Brewers, including the fan base, has just soured.
Yes.
And it seems like it went into the front office, and they're like, well, I don't think we can win either. So let's start moving some pieces.
Yeah.
The fact that you're throwing around trading Burns now and Woody, and these things are getting thrown around. I don't like that for a franchise that just last year had the best 50-game start in its franchise history and looked like it could go on to win the NL Central and maybe be a legitimate World Series contender. And we're talking about whether they should trade Corbin Burns or not. So I have no idea where the Brewers are heading, and I have really no confidence in their future. Whereas at least with the Packers, I think even if it's not with Aaron Rodgers, maybe Aaron decides to retire. I don't think that happens, but even if he did, I think LaFleur and Gutekunst could find a way to right the ship that maybe they could make a run with Jordan Love next year. I have no confidence in the Brewers. So
let me say a couple of things about what you said about the Brewers that I disagree with. I think one is on a Corbin. If I woke up and there was a tweet notification in my phone and it said, the Brewers have traded Corbin Burns, my first reaction isn't, what the hell are they doing trading Corbin? It's an asset, like you want to sell at the top. Sure. You want to get on that. Like I would now, if I go and I see the return and it's like some organization's 8th best prospect, 15th best prospect, and an unranked guy, I'd be like, what are you doing? But if it's like 3 top 100 dudes on the MLB pipeline list, or it's 2 major league young players plus a top 15 MLB pipeline prospect, like I would totally understand that. So I'm not opposed to the concept of a Corbin Burns trade. And I say that as a Brewers fan. Like I would understand that what's Corbin Burns? If Burns pitches like this, maybe not Cy Young Burns, but top 10 Cy Young Burns for the next 2 years, he's getting 35 a year.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, you sell. This is the right time. Gosh, why am I saying this? This is the right time to sell Corbin Burnes. So, like, I wouldn't be like questioning the Brewers' direction if they did that.
Correct me.
Whoa, what are we doing now? We're trading Corbin Burnes?
Well, hold on. How many more years does he have?
We're talking about like the direction of these franchises, Bart. So it's like, how much you believe in and trust in the methods of which they're making their decisions.
Does Burnes have 2 more years left of arbitration?
Yes.
So this year, next.
Yep.
I have no problem with trading him in his final year of arbitration. No problem.
But you're going to get more now. You're going to get more with 2 years left.
And I can speak from experience here. The Nationals traded Juan Soto, and it sucked seeing Soto go. But it was obvious that the Nationals weren't going anywhere. There was no chance that they were going to win a World Series. And then, the prospects they got back, I'm fine with it. The problem I have with the Brewers doing it is they're still – maybe they don't believe they're in a window anymore, but it seemed like they were in a window and that they could have gone for it. And they decided not to. So maybe it is the time to move on from Corbin Burnes. I'm personally not going to be in that until it's that final year and then you decide that you're going to do it. But I think you've got guys on this team that can still compete for a legitimate championship. And so until then, I'm not moving on from Burnes.
Yeah. But recognizing this was a tangent, thank you for indulging me, Toby, because I think it's fun to speculate on that kind of stuff. So Bart voted he is more optimistic about the direction and leadership of the Brewers compared to the Packers. Toby disagreed with that.
I am more optimistic in Mark Attanasio pretending to try to win than Aaron Rodgers' leadership.
I think it still stands that you said that you're more optimistic.
I don't know if the question is as simple as that. I'm gonna.
The question was, are you more optimistic about your? What the question was, you're more optimistic about the direction and leadership. Of I'm gonna
say I'm more optimistic about the Packers.
So all of the stuff you just said.
I feel like because when push comes to shove, I feel like if these teams are forced with. Okay, we're either going to the Packers are going to have more of a they can't suck.
The goalposts are different for the teams. The Packers, it's about winning a Super Bowl, right?
But I would say the goalpost for what were you going to say the Brewers' goal is?
I think
the Brewers' goal is right now to get new seeds.
Get into the playoffs.
I disagree, and that was why even the Brewers making the playoffs this year and then losing in the first round would have still been a loss. Like that would have not resonated well. I think the goal for the Brewers is to make the World Series. I think the goal for the Packers is to win the Super Bowl.
I think the goal for the Brewers was to win the World Series last year. I don't think it is anymore.
The Brewers' goal is to win the World Series without
going all in.
Yeah.
To have the most delicious bite of the apple without having to sacrifice the entirety of the apple.
The Packers' goal might have been to try to win a Super Bowl. The Brewers' goal has been to try to luck their way into a World Series.
Okay, so So Mark Murphy, do we know when he's retired / being forced to retire? It's in a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So in the next couple of years, I don't think Rodgers is on the Packers.
I don't think
Rodgers is on the Packers in a couple of years. Mark Murphy is retired. So that would leave Gutekunst, who, by the way, adds another collection to his third-round pick disasters now that this offensive lineman is suspended for the last 6 games, who even despite all of their offensive line injury problems, didn't play a snap, and now he's suspended. Dude, just trade your third-round picks. He's fucking awful. It's unbelievable. You can't be worse. I could pick a name out of a hat randomly. The spinny ball thingy, right? And you could just grab a ball out of this one and have a better chance of getting a third-round pick right than.
Well, don't say that because that is actually.
What?
I wasn't supposed to reveal this. That's actually how they drafted Josiah DeGuara.
It has to be.
They had a bunch of names on a board in magnets. Yeah. And somebody, it was crazy. Somebody brought their dog in. John Eric Sullivan brought his dog
by the way,
in.
This isn't that crazy because keep in mind, they were in their houses.
Yeah.
during the 2020 draft when they drafted DeGuara.
Yeah, so the dog knocks over the board. Josiah DeGuara was on like a free agent maybe guy. He accidentally slapped him on where the third guy they drafted the third. Can you do you have a non-Packer one?
Well, this was like my closest non-Packer one.
I
hear you. It's a frustrating. So I'm gonna say, so with Murphy being gone in a couple of years, with Rodgers being gone in a couple of years, with Gutekunst, I think he's okay at his job. I'm not sure. With Matt LaFleur being not good at his job. So here's who are the four pillars of AEW? Just kidding. The four pillars of the Green Bay Packers. Murphy gone in the next couple of years. Rodgers gone in the next couple of years. Gutekunst, I don't know. Is he good? LaFleur, I don't know. Is he good? That's not great for your four pillars. Like in terms of like the future, the direction, the leadership, like that's a very shaky pillar ground upon which to stand, right?
Yeah, very much so.
The Brewers, I don't know, but like
Who
I'm
the
going
four
to say
pillars are the Brewers.
Who are the four pillars? I mean, it's Mark, David, Matt Arnold, and Craig Counsell. You know what? No, you're right. Okay, it's Mark Attanasio, it's Craig Counsell, it's Matt Arnold, and for now it's David Stearns. I feel better about the leadership and direction of the Brewers' future than I do the Packers. I am very, very shaken, skeptical, cynical, pessimistic about the pillar leadership of the Packers right now. I think it's on extremely shaky ground. Matt LaFleur needs to tell Aaron Rodgers, I don't care how you check out. You're not starting against the Bears. I don't care what you go say on McAfee and if you plead for your... I am the coach.
But they'll never do that.
Joe Barry needs to stop the run game.
They got the bye coming up. Love's going to play the last four.
He needs to take a stand. LaFleur needs to take control of this team. This is so bad.
But this is the same reason that Goody never traded him. They don't do what's uncomfortable.
But that is a problem. That is
agree.
At the very least, you know what? We can criticize the Josh Hader trade. It deserves to be criticized. David Stearns admitted in his postseason press conference, whoops. Like paraphrase, whoops, mistake. That's all fine, but like at least a decision, like at least you're like, I have a direction, I have a plan, and it didn't work. That Hader trade, it blew up in my face. It was bad. I regret it. The Packers won't take a stand. LaFleur won't tell us what he believes in. What do you stand for? If you stand for nothing, LaFleur, what will you fall for?
Whoa.
Toby, you got my reference?
I got it.
Yes.
I didn't.
I know Dave and Cudahy got it. I know Tony in Texas got it.
What is it?
It was Hamilton.
Oh, Christ.
If you stand for nothing, Matt, what will you fall for? Who are you? Who are you?
I thought you made that up. I was like,
it was profound, right? They sometimes call me Paul Manuel Miranda.
Is he gone? Is he gone?
Who?
Lin-Manuel Miranda. Where is he?
What do you mean is he gone?
Is he done doing is he done being him now?
Is he done being him? What does that mean? He's amazing.
No, he's not. He was like, all of a sudden there was no mention of this guy in the world. And then he's like, hey, by the way, this is me. And I'm the biggest fucking star in America.
Yeah.
I don't like when that happens.
I mean, Encanto is his.
Yeah, Encanto's good. Encanto's
amazing.
Never seen it.
Well, that wouldn't be, maybe I would have seen it even without kids, but all right. So Tony in Texas said this. I heard it on podcast. I didn't hear it live, Bart, but he mentioned this, and I had seen the Matt Schneidman tweet that I assume Tony was referencing on your Monday episode. So yes, as Schneidman had tweeted, as Tony in Texas is on your show, with a loss to the Bears, who are currently the number 2 seed in the draft, with a loss, the Packers could, if other things, the Packers could be the number 2 pick in the NFL draft by the end of Sunday's game. Like that is a possibility. Packers lose. Yes. The Packers with a loss to the Bears, who have currently the number 2 overall pick. And then, of course, there's teams who are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the draft as well. The Packers can leave Sunday's games, having the number 2 overall pick. He's disappeared, like with his fake background camera.
Really? You can't see me?
Well, like now we're kind of back. Now all we see is your hat.
It looks like you're being held hostage.
It totally does.
Oh, no.
In your beautiful home with your grand piano. All right, so yes, the Packers could have the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. All they have to do is lose on Sunday. Okay, so with a loss, Packers have to... That's exciting. Mm-hmm. Or mm-mm.
That's exciting. That's fucking depressing.
It's not exciting because what are they going to do? Draft a quarterback?
I don't know. I want the number 2 overall pick. Mm-hmm. I am very excited by that possibility. If the season was still like meaningful, I would not be excited. I'm not excited that they suck this year. But at this current state of affairs, where we stand today at the end of November going into December, they suck. I'm very, very excited about the possibility of having the number 2 overall pick. That's amazing. When's the last time a Packers fan, since A.J. Hawk, 5th overall pick in 2005, has been able to be like, well, let's study the top 5 guys. Let's study the top 10 guys. They desperately need a top 5 talent.
But I can't root for them to lose.
Fine. The question is, with a loss, the Packers could have the second pick in the draft. That is exciting.
No.
You don't have to root for them to lose, but if they lose, you'd be like, whoa.
If they lose to the Bears, who probably aren't going to have Justin Fields, as far as I know.
It's a consolation prize.
Temporary misery, long-term gain.
No, I understand. And I if you could just pluck me, like take me now and all of a sudden it's January 10th or whatever, I would be like, oh, the Packers have the 2. Okay, good. Wow, good.
Well, and they'd have a real chance to get a guy like Will Anderson to pair alongside Rashawn Gary.
And they need playmakers.
So, like, you could...
I just can't root for them to lose.
But I don't know. It feels like with this Packers over the last, 20, 30 years, unless there was like an injury to your quarterback, it just doesn't feel right to be up there. And so there will be excitement once the draft comes around, but right now, I mean, there's no excitement.
Let me change what I said. I said I can't root for them to lose. I have rooted for them to lose. I had a whole thing about how I want McCarthy to come in here and beat the shit out of Aaron Rodgers.
And by the way, that's the only game they've won. So
maybe
you need to reverse your tact and just say like, oh no, like I hope the Packers lose because that's the only time they win.
I can't find a way, and maybe this is wrong. Maybe I'm not voice of the fan here because I think there's a lot of fans that if you present to them, hey, lose. I talked to Mike the Painter on yesterday's show, and Mike was like, we were like, what's the best case for you? And he goes, I want to see Jordan Love play really well. I want him to play really well, but I want the Packers to lose. So every game, like if every game could be like Sunday night where that's exciting.
Well, they're the perfect defensive coordinator for that.
And Joe Barry's terrible and every game's 40-33. Then like everything's going to work out. Love looks good. Barry's going to get fired. You're going to lose. You're going to have a top pick. Everything would work out. If we lost every game the rest of the way, 40-33, everyone's wishes would come true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top pick, Jordan Love. I mean, we would lose to the Vikings. That would be awful. We would lose to the Bears. That part would suck. So those things would suck. But if they lost that way, everything would come up the way everybody wants. I just can't, as a Packer fan, and this I will say is the one entitled thing, because a lot of people call Packer fans entitled and spoiled. I would still fight that we're not.
Except for the following take.
Except I am the Packers are too good to be a franchise that's rooting for a high draft pick. I ain't going there. No. I will root to lose to spite the quarterback. I will root to lose if it makes my fantasy do better. I am not going to stoop myself to listen or to watch. So I'm not going to root for a low. With the Packers, I can't do it. Entitled.
Obviously, I'm not a Packers fan, but I am in the same boat. Not that the not that the Commanders are too good to not root for a high draft pick in previous years, not this year. but I can never root for my team to lose.
This is the mother fucking Green Bay Packers. And here I am watching a team. Matt LaFleur's roaming the same sidelines as Vince Lombardi. What the fuck? No, I'm pissed. No, I got pissed off. Because here's Paul Imig in his Lin-Manuel Miranda shrine basement talking about trying to get the number 2 seed and how exciting it is to lose to the Bears. Oh, my God.
I want to see Jordan Love look amazing. I want to see Christian Watson look amazing. I want to see Romeo Doubs come back healthy and look amazing. I want Elton Jenkins to stop looking like an average football player and go back to being the great football player that he was. Yes. I want Kenny Clark to stop being suddenly awful, in totally non-factor, an overpaid defensive lineman. When did that happen? I want that to change. I want Jair Alexander to look like a top 10 corner and not a guy that celebrates being down 12 to get the crowd turned against him, like MJF turning These are all things you should want while losing.
No, you
still want You're better off having the 2 pick than the 9 pick. You will be better in the future. Are you making the playoffs this year? No. You have a 2% chance mathematically, a 2% chance. Rodgers says, as long as we're not mathematically limited, bro, yeah, I get it. By the way, the Packers had a 99.7% chance to go to the Super Bowl in Seattle and lost. So yes, there are mathematical improbabilities that can happen. You have a 2% chance of making the playoffs. You're not winning the Super Bowl. I want the draft pick. It's not even a discussion. I still want all these things to happen. I want Kenny Clark and Jair and Christian, all those things said.
Oh, Jair, get rid of him.
Well, the MVP of this football team is Rudy Ford. Or
I still am trying to figure out a way because 2 of our best guys are Ford and Nixon. There's something there.
There's at least a social media. The social media team should be on that. There should be some kind of production.
Well, every week, do you know how I watch Packer games these days? I don't watch anything. I just wait for Nixon and Ford to be together so I can take a picture where their names are on the back.
Oh, it's almost like when I saw a SportsCenter tweet after the game when it was "Love hurts."
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
You want Ford Nixon?
Yeah.
Did you catch that, Toby?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you one last question. And it relates.
A couple things I want to say.
Okay.
One, go subscribe to my YouTube immediately.
Go subscribe to Bart's YouTube. He's
at Bart Winkler Show.
Help him. I'm going to say it for him. Help him get to 1,000 followers. Okay.
I need 1,000 subscribers so YouTube can start paying me.
If you guys want Bart to keep doing this, and I know you do, I know I do, go subscribe to his YouTube so he can find ways to monetize what he's doing.
Yeah.
And help him keep doing his show. Go subscribe. Tell people, make up new fake Gmails and YouTubes and just go subscribe to it. Get him to 1,000.
Make Bart a millionaire.
Yeah. And go to my pinned tweet and buy a golf simulator today.
It's very easy. At the very least, do the YouTube thing. If you also do the golf simulator thing, that's bonus points. Or send him equipment like a ring light and a green screen.
Which, I'm sorry to say, Matt, is still in the box, which you can't see on the video because it's not a green screen. And I'm gone. On the video, I have gone away.
All right.
Well, I was going to set up the green screen. So we're recording Tuesday morning. I was going to set it. I can't do it today because I'm going to be at the USA. I'm going to be watching USA. I can't do it after USA because I'm going to be fucking hammered.
Yeah. After a USA win, baby.
You could just. Okay. I won't. You live your life.
I understand. I could and I want to, but Paul, alcohol's a thief. It steals time. It steals your health. It steals your energy.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, the other thing I wanted to say was about, I said the YouTube thing. Oh, I'm going to be where Toby was, the toy drive. My plan is, so if this comes out Wednesday, my plan is to be at the toy drive. I'm going to do some podcasting in the morning, and then I'm going to try to be Blaine's Farm and Fleet and Oak Creek in like the 10:30 to noon range.
On what day?
Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah. Wednesday as in if people are listening to this today, it came out Wednesday.
Yeah, but not everybody listens the day of, especially
November 30th.
Yeah, especially like if I post it on the wrong day, and instead of Monday morning Packer show coming on at 5 when it should, it actually doesn't post until 8:45 because you never know.
You never know. It was a long night. Okay. All right. Here's my last. You get through your items.
Yeah.
All right. In the spirit of the Packers having the second pick or the 9th pick or whatever else, not including quarterback. Okay. No QBs allowed. You get to add a young elite player at a position of your choice to the Packers next season. That young elite player would play the position of wide receiver. Or
No.
That young elite player would play what position then?
Anything defense?
Another first rounder on defense.
See, but that's just it. Like it's kind of like you don't stop drafting wide receivers, the Detroit Lions, just because because you might get Kelvin Johnson, right? You do wide receiver 3 years in a row, but I've been burned so many. What, a young elite player is going to fix this total crap defense? I'm always just don't draft defense. I just can't take it anymore. Draft something on offense, please. And that's probably the wrong thing to do because the defense is awful.
Well, something that Andy Herman said with me really stuck, and I saw that he said this team has a lot of good players, but they don't have a lot of playmakers.
Yeah, but I would argue that is a scheme, a scheme/coordinator problem that they're not being put in the right spots.
Last year they had playmakers. Last year they had Rasul Douglas. He was a playmaker. I think Quay Walker has all the makings of a playmaker in the second level. I think Rashawn Gary's a game wrecker.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's 3 levels of guys right there, and I'm not even...
And by the way, I do still think Jair, he's not showing it right now. Jair is
celebrating when you're down 17,
it's a bad
clearly
look.
Faking an injury and then waving to the crowd.
It's bad, but that doesn't change the fact that in a new season with his talent, he is really good. He's just kind of...
He has to play winning football.
Yes.
He can't deal with this situation where they're at. He doesn't know what to do. So
he's going full blown heel, and he's just going to screw with people. He's going to,
I don't like it, but I don't know. For me, I have a tough time detaching names since I love the draft so much. So if you could add Will Anderson an edge rusher, that's probably not your ideal spot to add someone right now. But I'd take Will Anderson. Honestly, wide receiver wouldn't be it unless it's Marvin Harrison Jr., which he's not eligible to come out this year. Honestly, you got to look at tackle, right? Offensive tackle?
Probably.
Because Bakhtiari's been solid when he's been out on the field.
Well, there's not many years left of anything.
And that's the thing. And even so, even if it's a thing that you keep Bakhtiari, you can solve right tackle. Because the problem is, like you mentioned earlier, the plan was going forward, go with Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins as your tackles. And then you put Jenkins back out there at tackle, and he looked terrible. And then you moved him back to left guard, and he's been okay, but I wouldn't say he's been that all-pro that we expected him to be.
Not even
I
close.
think you could look at offensive tackle to maybe put it right tackle and then possibly be your heir apparent to Bakhtiari at left tackle.
I'm okay with an offensive tackle. It's not exciting,
But that's the time to go get those guys is in the top 10. Because they're too expensive to sign, and it's really hard to trade for them.
Bart, you said
I can understand that. The defense fatigue. It's do we need another guy on that side of the ball, or do you just need another?
You need a defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Everybody's seen that picture now, 3rd and 4, and there's nobody on AJ Brown.
That's not a talent issue.
No.
Well, it's a coaching talent issue. It's not a player personnel talent issue.
Well, Joe Barry learned to not put anyone on AJ Brown after he tried to put, Preston Smith on Justin Jefferson.
God damn.
So, Bart, your position, you get to add a young elite player. What position are you doing then if it's not wide receiver?
Kicker. Mason sucks.
Punter.
Offensive line. I like that tackle. Get a tackle in there. I'm with Toby. Toby laid it out.
I'm good with tackle. I would still, and again, I was trying to keep it vague, right, Toby? You gave some really good names, and is there really a wide receiver worth taking at 2 or even 5? Yeah. I was just trying to like a young elite player, like whomever it may be. But I would be totally fine with the tackle.
Well, and the other thing is, if you want to say like just for the exercise, take the names out of it. I think Watson's shown you he can be elite. I think Dunn has shown you he can be a good complementary piece. Mm-hmm. So spending another top draft pick on a guy, I would rather go and solidify the offensive line. And if you want to get another wide receiver, sign a veteran in free agency.
Well, like Sammy Watkins?
No. Sign like a legit wide receiver, but not. It doesn't have to be like the top guy, but someone that you've heard of before that isn't Sammy Watkins.
Well, isn't part of the problem with that? I agree, but all these guys ended up locking up their deals. McLaurin and Debo and actually, is Metcalf? Did he? No, he did do a deal, didn't he?
He did. Yep.
They all did. All right, Bart's got to go.
Wait, do you hear that?
Yeah.
God damn it!
What is it? Your phone?
I'm getting a phone call, and it loads on my computer.
Do you want to talk live?
I'm really sorry about this.
Is it your mom?
No, but since we're playing random noises, I did want to. This is available. You're like, why would I subscribe? Why would I ever subscribe to the YouTube? I can get all Bart's content on podcast. Okay, well, can you get this?
And try to understand the way this popcorn feels in my hand. Take a scoop and put it in your mouth and eat some now. Yes, eat some now. Yes, eat some now. Ow, 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 ow. Gourmet nights, popcorn. I mean nights, gourmet popcorn. They've got caramel corn and sweet cherry corn and double cheddar cheese. Double cheddar cheese. Double cheddar cheese. Yeah. You have some nights, gourmet popcorn. Try that night, gourmet popcorn. Cherry sweet corn or Milwaukee mix. You gotta have nice gourmet popcorn.
With lip syncing on the YouTube, about as good as it was during the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, if you watched it.
Yeah.
Which we did. Oh, who was it out there? It was there was one band out there. It was not Franz Ferdinand, but something very similar to them.
I didn't see it, but every Thanksgiving Day performance is lip synced.
I know. All right, I think that's good. I think I'm gonna go.
All right,
sounds good.
Toby, anything you want to promote?
Subscribe to Bart's YouTube.
No.
Yeah, subscribe to Bart. # make Bart a millionaire.
Just make Bart 1,000-aire.
Yeah.
100-aire.
Make me not have to. Can I be truth?
Be truth.
I don't want a 9 to 5. Not because it would be the first.
Sure?
Just listen.
Okay.
Not because it would be the first time in 10 years that I would have that kind of structure again in my life. I mean, I've been coming home at 10:30 for the last 7 years. My day's over. I am the fattest I've ever been, and no clothes fit me anymore. Even the temporary fat clothes that I got no longer fit me. I'm fucked. So if I get a job where I got 9 to 5 and I got to dress business cash, it's going to end up costing me more because I got to get a whole fucking wardrobe. I'm going to have to drive there and gas. Then there's going to be other people in my life, and I'm like going to start to care about them and buy them cakes and shit for their birthday and fucking after work drinks, and it's going to be a lot of money.
Oh, gee.
Hold on, I'm going to answer this one. Spark guy.
What's going on, man?
I'm taping live with Toby and Paul right now.
How you guys doing?
Spark guy.
What a
Well,
guy.
good. If you guys want to go, we've been talking for a long time. So if you
Okay.
guys want to go, you can go.
You talk with Spark guy. You tell him about your 9 to 5 aspirations.
Okay. Toby?
I'm good. I can hang.
All right.
Subscribe to Bart's YouTube. Bye.
Thanks,
Hey,
Paul.
Paul.
What's up, Spark guy?
No, I was doing a voicemail about culture and LaFleur, but I don't know what I feel a little bit. I should talk about what you're talking about. What do you want me to do here?
Matt
No,
LaFleur.
talk about what you want to talk about. We've been covering that a little bit.
You know, I just keep hearing the Joe Barry stuff, and it just feels to me like it's just I get it. Joe Barry is a very mediocre to slash somewhat incompetent problem, but I feel like it's a culture problem, like it's always been, and I feel like you run a vein through it all, and it's like it's a LaFleur problem. Like I feel like the NFL is changing, and I feel like a lot of this happened with Manning and even Rodgers earlier on in his career, where it was all about trying to outsmart people, right? I don't feel like the NFL is like that anymore. It is a physical game the last few years, and the Packers are showing that they physically don't want to be there. You saw the missed tackles. You've seen kind of the style of play. I think that's a LaFleur problem. I just think that LaFleur does not have that mindset, and it dovetails with the idea that he looks like he's going to cry all the time. So I don't know.
We've been, just to follow up on that, we've been doing a lot of LaFleur bashing in the last hour. Yes.
Okay, that's my thought. Is I just think it's a LaFleur problem. Joe Barry is a symptom of the problem. Is probably the best way to say it. So
Yeah, LaFleur's the problem because he hired Joe Barry and is too much of a cuck to not fire him.
throwing out the cuck word, wow!
I did.
I mean, it's fully on between you and LaFleur. I don't know, man. I'm sure you're talking a lot about World Cup too. Are you nervous about the big match between USA and Iran?
Well, now, see, we're recording, so it's Tuesday. I can't talk. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to talk about it on the podcast at this point.
Okay, I get it. I'm learning, Bart. I'm learning this new format. You know, it's not even new necessarily, but that said,
Yeah, it's a round robin. People don't understand what a fucking round robin is.
But where do you stand on the? I'm guessing you also have talked about the Rodgers 9/11 stuff. Is that new, or is that something that resurfaced? I just saw it this morning.
It's new to me.
It made the rounds last night, it looks like.
Yeah, it's new to me.
What's that about?
Well, are we surprised?
No. No, but does it mean anything?
If you had to guess one
like
player in the NFL that would question 9/11, wouldn't Rodgers be like minus 350 odds? Of course it'd be him. Rodgers is he's
yeah, like Cole Beasley's not around anymore, so yeah, Rodgers is the leader now. So.
All right, Spark. Good to hear from you.
Hey, you take care, but God bless.
Hey, God bless you there, Spark there, hey.
Hey, buddy.
How about that? A little live.
Good to hear from him.
You got nothing to promote, Toby?
I got nothing to promote. I don't do anything.
Oh, God. I'll promote Milwaukee Pro Soccer. Follow them on Twitter. MKE_Pro Soccer.
Looks like you're having a lot of fun with them.
Dude, this is like the best job I've ever had in my life. I can be creative. I can do social stuff. And I'm watching soccer.
How much of the World Cup have you watched outside of the United States?
I wanted to say all, but we did record this during the early games, so that was a mistake. I've watched pretty much every game. I didn't watch any of the 4 a.m. games. I regret that, but I probably watched half of the games that kicked off at 7, and then I watched every 10 and every 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I check in. I always forget that it's on, and then I check in on it. I know when you plan.
Yeah. Well, if again, I don't want to. I mean, I don't know the result here, so
yeah,
talk about it. And I've already covered it on this podcast, so like.
Well, if you ever need another person to talk soccer, I do watch USA, so I can talk about the U.S. team.
Toby, it's good to see you. I miss you, bud.
Miss you too, Bart. Miss you too. It was good seeing you at Carl's place.
It was. We saw each other in real life, and that felt good.
It did.
On YouTube, do you like my hair right now? It's like 90s gym teacher. Female.
It looks fantastic. All
right, buddy. Thank you.
No problem. See ya.
See ya.